Apologies there. Now, for more on the tax ruling against Chevron, the ABC's Stephen Long says Chevron's failed appeal could have global implications. That's as other governments try to claw back taxes.
In Australia, it is the first case, the first full federal court judgment on the issue of intercompany loans and the debt from these intercompany loans. The basic situation was that Chevron set up a shell company in Delaware in the United States that was lending money to an Australian Chevron company, charging an interest rate of 9% whilst borrowing the money at an interest rate of 1.2%. There was a dual effect from this, Sue. The first effect was that it could deduct in Australia, the Chevron company, the interest payments from the borrowing, which obviously made it have a much smaller tax bill, but also income was shifted offshore through that high interest rate to the United States, where, through the magic of tax structuring, it was effectively washed away, and there was no tax paid in the United States, no tax anywhere.
Now, Stephen, this now becomes case law. What impact will this ruling have on the other multinational firms that the tax office is chasing?
The Australian Taxation Office indicated in a statement today that it has other companies in its sights over these arrangements. It didn't name them. One of the other implications is that this was a relatively small loan by the standards of this giant oil and gas company. There is a much larger loan for the development of the huge Gorgon Wheatstone projects, these massive gas projects up on the northwest shelf within the Chevron group. And that loan was about $42 billion. It's paying more than $2 billion in interest payments a year, and its structuring is very similar to this loan, albeit with a smaller interest rate. There's a big question as to whether now the tax office chases Chevron over that loan and tries to recoup interest. That's not certain, but it's certainly one of the questions that has been raised by this judgment.
Now, what reaction have we seen so far to this judgment?
The tax office welcomed the judgment, obviously, as has the government and the opposition. Chevron said that it's disappointed and it is flagging the possibility of appealing to the High Court. It will have to get special leave to do so, but it's quite possible that this may end up in the High Court for determination on this principle. And so you've also had campaigners, the tax justice campaigners, who are saying now that the ATO has to look at this other Chevron loan, but in their words, this is a real warning shot for tax dodgers. This also comes in the context of the government looking at the tax that the Australian public is gaining out of our gas reserves on the northwest shelf, both through the petroleum resources rent tax and income tax. There's an inquiry in the Senate on this at the moment, and this may feed into those considerations.
That's the ABC's Stephen Long, and Alicia Barry will be taking a more in-depth look at the Chevron